Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X researcher and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled, Tribulation is at Hand. The Sun is Darkened. Now in Matthew 24, Jesus is answering his disciples' question regarding the end of time and his return. In verse 29, he mentions signs in the heavens, and in particular that the sun would be darkened and that the moon would not give off light. It says in Matthew 24, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So the time of tribulation, which is also sometimes referred to as the day of the Lord, or the time of judgment of the world, is mentioned, and one of the things that is associated with that time is that the sun would be darkened. Now recently we had 3 hours of darkness in Russia, the details of which I examined and concluded that it had to have been caused by a sun simulator failure due to a large amount of stellar core dust entering the atmosphere. And you may look at Article 291 entitled The Sun Disappears, Day Turns into Night. But the fact that the sun simulator failure caused darkness indicates that the sun was not shining at the time. In other words, the sun was darkened. This is also not the first time that either the absence or failure of a simulator has led to darkness. This also occurred over Argentina in 2011 and is detailed in Article 292 entitled The Sun Goes Dark, Effects on the Earth. And you see here an image. It was actually shown on television in Argentina how it suddenly turned pitch dark in the middle of the day. And this occurred on August 12, 2011 in Argentina. And it only stayed dark like this for a few minutes, not for 3 hours as has recently occurred in Russia. But it still showed that the sun must have gotten dark, and I wrote about that in this article 292. And obviously there was either no sun simulator over Argentina at the time yet, or again the sun simulator over Argentina failed. And therefore it could be seen by the people on the ground that the sun was not shining. In addition, we also know that the sun has been going dark during the SDO eclipse season since 2011, which, as I have explained many times, is not actually due to an eclipse, but it is actually due to the sun going dark as the sun's corona shrinks back as the darkness progresses across the face of the sun. So it is likely that the sun is going dark at other times and has been remaining dark for longer and longer periods of time since 2011. In fact, it is even possible that the sun now remains dark most of the time. We would simply not see it because of the simulators that are in operation, which light up the lower part of the Earth's atmosphere, so that it is impossible for an observer from the surface to realize that the sun is not providing the light unless simulator failure occurs. You may look at Article 226b entitled Sun Simulating Devices, the Irrefutable Evidence, for more details on the sun simulation that is going on. Now here we see two images from the SDO eclipse season. This one is from August 2017, and it shows that the corona shrinks back as darkness progresses. So this is not the Earth eclipsing the sun. If this was the Earth eclipsing the sun, by the time the darkness has reached this part of the sun, then the Earth would be here, but then the Earth cannot cover this part of the corona. This part of the corona should be there. It should look the same as it looks here. And the Earth would then just be covering the lower part of the sun. This is not occurring. The corona shrinking back shows you it's irrefutable evidence that this is not an eclipse. This is the sun going dark, and the sun has been going dark for a long time. It's only shown to us during the STO eclipse season because they think they have a good cover story. But it's likely happening quite often. Now, the fact that we could have a time of darkness that lasted 3 hours shows that the sun is now remaining dark for at least that amount of time each time it goes dark, and most likely for a much longer time than that. The reason why this is occurring is because of the Planet X system of stellar cores, which have been entering the solar system for nearly 200 years now. And you may look at Article 146 entitled Planet X System, Time of Arrival, for more details on that. These objects are dead stars, planets, and moons. They are depleted in energy and thus can no longer operate as living planets and stars. This leads them to be dark and to lose ability to interact gravitationally to the point that they no longer attract their own matter and shed it. They also expand in size. Because of their extreme energy depletion, they drain other objects that are still living and thus still generate energy in their cores. They therefore drain the sun of energy and ultimately will turn the sun into a dead star as well. The sun's ability to emit light will go first, but eventually the sun will lose its atmosphere and other layers above its core. It will lose its planets, it will expand in size, and its core will be exposed, just like the stellar cores that have invaded the solar system. This drain eventually will cause the sun not to be able to emit any light at all, and we cannot be sure that this time has not already arrived. It is possible that the sun no longer emits any light at all right now. But even if it still does, the fact that it was off for at least 3 hours indicates that the time when it will not emit any light at all is fast approaching, and therefore that the time of tribulation must be at hand. And here we see an image where we can see one of the stellar cores. They make this sort of connection with the sun. They're drawing matter from the sun and therefore drawing energy from the sun. This is another one of the stellar cores. This one has developed an atmosphere already, has drawn enough material from the sun, is now starting to emit light. So it's been in the sun's corona longer than this one. Now, I have also written many articles about the fact that the moon is being simulated in the Earth's atmosphere. This is of course to be expected because if the sun is darkened, and we have seen that it must be at least partially darkened at the moment, then there will be no light for the moon to reflect, and it therefore will not give her light, as described in Matthew 24 verse 29. And a moon simulation then becomes a requirement in order to stop the Earth's population from realizing what is going on and what time it is. And here you see the jagged edge of the moon. It actually comes from this image. It's a close-up of this image, which comes from the lunar eclipse, actually from a NASA video of the lunar eclipse on January 31st, 2018. And as you can see, it's toothed. As you can see straight lines, regular, separated steps at the edge of the moon. And this shows that this cannot possibly be the real moon. This is a simulated moon in our skies. Now, the eclipse of July 27, 2018 also showed numerous anomalies which indicated that the moon being observed was a holographic projection. And you may look at Article 293 entitled The Fake Blood Red Moon of July 27, 2018 for more details. The clarity of the features seen on the moon when it is in the sky during daylight also indicates that it is a holographic projection. And you may look at Article 220 entitled Simulated Moon in the Sky for more details on that. Notice as well that we have stellar core dust and debris entering the atmosphere. This leads to cloud condensation and light emission and is likely to keep increasing, leading to sun and moon simulation failure, and may soon develop into the appearance of fire or stars falling through the atmosphere. But what is happening in the solar system is so dramatic, even though it is being covered up by those who would like to hide the truth, that we can definitely say that the powers of heaven are being shaken. So in conclusion, there is now evidence that the sun is darkened or very close to being completely darkened. The moon is no longer giving its light, and that the powers of heaven are being shaken as described in Matthew 24 verse 29 by Jesus, and that therefore the tribulation is at hand. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.